Hey guys, it's Hannah and I'm here today with my January wrap-up. Excuse the little muse coming from the other room. There's shadows on the wall and he is crying trying to chase them. We nicknamed him Peter Pan. But this is gonna be my January wrap-up. I haven't done a wrap-up in some time. I kind of fell off doing them for quite some time last year, but I thought if you guys don't keep up with my reading vlogs, you guys won't know what I am reading or reviewing, so I thought I would incorporate these back in. Let me know down below if you guys still like watching wrap-ups. It's been interesting seeing the ebbs and flows of them on YouTube. So I'm using Allie over at the Hardback Hoarder's book tracker, and I am very impressed and I love it, and we'll see how far I get with this month or with this tracking thing for this year. So I have read 8 books this month. I have read 1,066 pages and I have listened to 40.5 hours on audiobook. My average rating was 3.75 and I acquired 7 new books this month because a lot of them were like arcs I got from work, but still. And then I checked out 2 library books. So a lot of these I don't have anymore, so you're going to be seeing a lot of pictures popping up here. So the first book that I bought and read within like 2 hours is How to Survive a Horror Movie. I will pop a picture up here, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I was not expecting, and like, it's very snarky. It's labeled in the humor section, but it is so good, especially like I'm not a horror fan, but it's so many pulp culture references that like you know what they're talking about or referring to, and if you don't, like, that's a great way to like read into some of them. It's so good about poking fun at like horror movie tropes, and all of it was fantastic. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. This was so much fun. The next book that I picked up was Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. This is a self-help nonfiction book that is her sequel to Girl Wash Your Face. Both of them are fantastic. I think I like the second one even better than the first one. This one takes place all about being like a boss and talking about like how to handle those different situations, how to go after your dreams, how to make money, like all of that was focused on this book, and I really enjoyed it. She's very relatable, and even though she is put in the Christian section in Barnes & Noble, you can relate it on so many levels. She doesn't dive too deep into her faith, so if you're not a person of faith, it isn't a downside for you reading this book. I really enjoyed this, and I highly recommend if you want a good pump up, feel good about yourself, like kick starter, it is such a good book. So I highly recommend this, and that's probably one of my favorite self-help books that I have read, and I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5 stars. The next one I picked up is Wonder Woman. This is volume 1, The Lies, and this is the Rebirth series. I did not love this one, and I was really hoping I would because I loved the movie and I liked Diana and other things, but she just doesn't pop for me as much, and I think maybe I just need to keep looking for the right Wonder Woman to read, but she just doesn't, she's got so much potential in my eyes with like the mascara and like the powerful women, and like all of that is like so up my alley, and this just doesn't do it for me. So this was, the artwork was good in this one. I didn't have any issues with that. There's just some weird things happening that I was confused about through a lot of it, and especially with this being volume 1, I was expecting a little bit more of an introductory one, so I would not recommend starting with something like this because there was a lot of references, not being a DC person, that I had no clue what the heck was going on, and I just had to pick up from context, and maybe I would find this more enjoyable if I had more information on Diana or Wonder Woman, and I didn't, so this one ended up being a 3 out of 5 stars for me. I definitely wouldn't recommend this to a newbie picking it up, but you may be getting more out of this than I did. Next up is Reverie by Ryan LaSala. This was the Barnes & Noble book club pick for January, and unfortunately I hated it. It's not as bad, but it was ridiculously confusing. So I ended up giving this one a 2 out of 5 stars. It's pretty low for me. This one had a cool premise, but it just got lost in all of the details. There was too many different subplots going on, and it wasn't tied up, and there was a lot of unanswered magic system in here. So that is one of my pet peeves in fantasy. If you don't have rules for your magic system, things are gonna fall apart, and that's what happened in this book. If you guys don't know, this one is all about, it's hard to even explain. So in this book, there is these worlds that you can get sucked in, and they're basically like dream worlds, and you get sucked into someone's dream world, and there's a group of people who are aware that it's a dream world, and they're like operating within it, but then there is these things that happen to the people in the dream world, and they can get stuck there. There's also this evil villain in this story that is a drag queen in this world, and then there's like these hidden eggs in this world too, and there's also like the mystery aspect because the main character here doesn't remember and has his memory like messed with, so he's confused too, and like the reader is not clarified at any point. It had a good idea. I think there was just too many plots going on in this, and if it was more simplified, we could have fleshed out more of the magic system and could have been developed a lot better, and I think I would have really enjoyed that. This feels like something that Night Circus was like trying to be like Night Circus. Just very imaginative, very whimsical, and it just didn't pull it off for me. If you guys like ever see my review on Night Circus, I didn't love the Night Circus, but I really respect what it was doing, and I can see why people love it. This one, I'm very confused how people followed everything going on. So this was a 2 out of 5 stars for me. The next book that I finished in the month of January is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and this one is a reread for me, and I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars. I've already talked about this one a ton on my channel. If you guys don't know about it, it's very Throne of Glassy. I would recommend this to a lot of YA fantasy lovers. The magic system in this is really cool with different spellcasters, and there is a lot of talk about oppression, and the race is very prominent in this, and it's been done beautifully. I'm sure you guys know what this one is about. My next 2 books I don't have with me because they are currently in Texas. I went ahead and sent these off to Gabby. So the first one that I read was Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey, and the second one is To Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey. And the Fix Her Up was the one that I was reading for our book club swap, or a book swap for every holiday we do that, or every Christmas we do that, and I just kind of went into it blind. I didn't know what to think, and I liked some aspects of it. I ended up giving like a 3.5. There wasn't enough substance in this romance book for me. There was a lot of smut and a lot of cringy scenes. So if you are not an avid romance reader, I don't know if I would recommend this. The banter is really good, but there's some intense, just horribly cringy scenes in this. And so this one like our main character is from this large prominent family in this town, and she is the baby of the family. No one takes her seriously, and she actually is a clown. She dresses up and entertains at children's parties, and she's a clown, and so she is definitely the butt of a lot of jokes, and no one takes her seriously. And she is in love with her brother's best friend, who is a Major League Baseball player, but he recently got injured, and so he had to retire at a young age, and he moved back into town and just is kind of moping around. So she decides to be the annoying little sister and pick himself up and make him like be functional again, and the love story ensues there. So it's kind of like the starstruck celebrity crush type of style. It's really cute, but there's definitely some issues in there. Okay, I am in the middle of filming at the moment, so I'm gonna call you back. I literally was just talking about the book club book that I sent you. So, oh, okay. Give me like 5 minutes and I will call you back.
No, you're good. You're good. Are you filming right now?
Yeah.
It's like recording?
Yep.
Hi!
So, the Gabby is FaceTiming me at the moment. Okay, I'm gonna call you back.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, bye. So, the second book in that series is To Love Her or Lose Her, and this one stars two other people in the same town, and we get to see a little bit of their relationship, and you get to see a little bit of the first couple, but if you haven't read the first one, you're not missing much for the second one. So I recommend reading Love Her or Lose Her over Fix Her Up, because Love Her or Lose Her, they have a lot more of a dynamic. It's more of a plot in there. It's not just smut romance. And that one is all about two like lovebirds who were high school sweethearts, and then he gets deployed and comes back and he's not quite the same. So it is trying to talk about finding yourself and dealing with these stressors and trying to best support, and it talks about healthy communication and learning how to love each other and learning your love languages and things like that. And I really enjoyed that book. So I ended up giving that one, I think, like a 3.75 or a 4. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The last book that I read for this month is Little Book of Luca. I will pop a picture up here. Fudge. Hello? Okay, we're gonna wrap this up before I get another phone call. So, the last book that I read was Little Book of Luca. I will pop a picture up here. This is all about the Happiness Institute, and it's all about the Danish people and how they're labeled the happiest people. And I am actually a quarter Danish, so I was really interested in that, and I picked this book up not knowing what, like, I didn't realize it was they're from Denmark. So I didn't realize that, and I'm starting to listen to it, and I really enjoyed it. This is all about treasuring the right types of relationships and creating this life that you want to live for your life, and not being a workaholic, and really having that life balance. And it talks about like the communities there, and I really liked being able to see into their insights of how they go about things and how they treasure things and how they've created this world, and why that is supporting how great this place is. And it definitely makes you want to move there. So I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend. It's very short read. It's like 3 hours on audiobook, but I really highly recommend it, listening to it, because it just like, it's such a feel good, just like cozy book, and I really enjoyed that. So that is gonna be it for my January wrap up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.